Hello and welcome to Inside Story. I'm Yondon Latu. Bobby Taylor is a living legend, a Motown star in his own right. He went on to discover Michael Jackson, had a love-hate relationship with the recording industry, and now, aged 80, he lives in Hong Kong. When he's not teaching the next generation of budding stars, he's still performing and full of the soul and energy you'd expect from any world-class entertainer. He's also got a few tales to tell and words of wisdom for those seeking fame and fortune. He opened up to Inside Story's Esther Chan.
These days, TV is dominated by talent shows and the internet populated by YouTube sensations. It seems easier than ever to find fame and fortune, even if it may only be for 15 minutes. 50 years ago, it was a very different story. Big stars were hard to find, and discovering one was like finding buried treasure.
The whole thing was this. If you have no talent, then they can wrap you around their finger and tell you what to do. You rehearse it for months in and months out. Anybody can do that.
This is the story of Bobby Taylor, musician, producer, Motown star, music teacher, and the man who discovered Michael Jackson.
Let's talk about natural talent. I was born in Washington, D.C. My father was a native North American born on the reservation in Red Deer, Alberta. My mom was Puerto Rican, born in San Juan, Puerto Rico. In those days, it was called Negro. Certain water faucets that you could drink out of, and other ones you couldn't. You couldn't go into certain bathrooms. You couldn't eat in a place. You'd have to go around to the back of the place, get your food, and then move. Downtown in certain cities were not allowed because of a curfew. And that's just the way it was. I never went through prejudice because I always danced around it. My mom used to tell me, never hate somebody else because someone else does. Never get into that factor of using the color of your skin as a scapegoat.
As if living in America before civil rights wasn't hard enough, he was called up by the army to fight in the Korean War. Serving in an all-black unit, he witnessed the horror of war, something that still haunts him to this day.
Sometimes things happen that, the Korea thing was another thing. Most people say I'm crazy because I got shot in the head. Yeah, here, that's where it went in. It came out here. Well, I came from Korea after the service, after the war, and they put me out of the army at Ford. Policeman pulls up, sheriff tells me to get in the car, and I thought he was helping me. Took me straight to jail. I stayed there for 6 months.
What was the reason?
There was none. I had dark skin. I got out at midnight. They let me out at midnight. Never forget that. I had no clothes. It's the winter, and it's cold in San Antonio, Texas. So I happened to walk by this club, and I heard this music, and I heard this singer, and it was Sammy, the guy that I'd been looking for when I first came. I didn't think. I just walked into the club. And this guy says, "Hey, where you going?" I said, "I beg your pardon." I said, "That's my friend up there." Right? So he hollers out, "Sammy, you know this guy?" Sammy did like this and looked. He says, oh, gee, let him up here. I went up on stage and sang with Sammy. I just liked singing, and most of the times I sang for free.
Bobby and his band signed to legendary label Motown in 1963. The label played a pivotal role in making African-American artists acceptable to whites in the 60s. Tommy Chong, who later found fame as one half of comedy duo Cheech and Chong, was in the band. In 1968, Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers hit the big time with their album and the singles Does Your Mama Know About Me and I Am Your Man. But the band didn't last and he left the label, which he later sued over uncredited work he did with the Jackson 5.
If you have no talent, then they can wrap you around their finger and tell you what to do. Go here, go here. You can only use the bathroom this evening, okay? You can't use the bathroom when you need to. I ain't gonna make it big, cool. But guess what? Whoever you have is not gonna be as good as me. I was told by the owner, Barry Gordon, he says, no, you're gonna sue, but you're gonna need the money by the time you win, because I'm gonna keep you broke. Right? Well, I won the case in 1969, 1970. It's when I won the case. I haven't been paid yet. Mysteries due on the wall.
Oftentimes when I'm playing in the band, I'm listening, I'm thinking, oh, he's doing that Motown thing. And I'm thinking, no, he's not.
That is him.
He created that with those guys. That's the real thing.
That's the real deal.
He's 80 years old. He's not out there like a young singer would be, but he was one of Motown's top talents as far as singing, also producing and writing, and he still does all of that, but he can still sing, and he sings with such technique.
After 60 years in the business, he's seen that it's less about artists and more about simply making money. Appearance, marketability, and profitability are all placed above talent.
James Brown was the very first person that had a song out of one line. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. That was the whole song. The whole song. You know, now you have them doing it nowadays. It was that Beyonce did. No, 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 no. How the hell do you have a record or a song that you write called No, 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 right? That means that you, any little child, anybody can say no, 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 you know. No, 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 it's not catchy to anybody, right? It was her beauty and the way that they marketed her. It's the same way everybody, as long as you're taught how to do something and you rehearse it for months in and months out, anybody can do that, right? Let's talk about natural talent.
After the break,
there's one thing. I want everyone to know that Michael Jackson was never a pedophile.
Bobby opens up about his decades-long friendship with megastar Michael Jackson.
This is the moment. This is it. It's an adventure. It's a great adventure. You want to take them places that you've never been before.
When it comes to stars, they don't shine much bigger or brighter than Michael Jackson.
Michael's first hit was something that I did on him. Hey, I did something and now everybody in the world has heard it.
I love you.
I said,
I really do.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Just know that.
It was Bobby Taylor's gift for being able to spot talent that first brought the King of Pop into the limelight. He personally took the Jackson 5 to Motown's Detroit headquarters to get them auditioned. At the time, Michael was doing James Brown impersonations.
We started it when he was 8. Michael was the money maker of the family. Let's put it like that. Joseph had him up at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning in these dives, making money for the family. He was a James Brown singer. I said, yeah, that's ridiculous. I said, because that's all James Brown can do, you know. James Brown got over because of the man who owned the record company, and they knew how to market him, right? And he would market him toward everybody that had dark skin. And then he would do songs that in those days, as they say, what people would grind when they would dance. I listened to him for the rest of the time, and I used to tell him, why are you screaming and trying to be like James Brown? He said, man, that's cool. I says, not if you want to make records, it's not. I said, James Brown's the only person that does that. I said, he does that because he can't sing worth a dime.
The group signed to Motown in 1969 and was an instant hit with that single, I Want You Back, which Bobby produced.
Their first song out, boom, #1. But it was a double-sided hit. Most people don't know that. Both sides were played equal. Both sides sold. Both sides were over 1 million sellers. One of them was written by Smokey, the other one was written by me. I helped make the largest person in the history of the entertainment business. And nobody can take that away from me.
Bobby stayed good friends with Jackson until he died in 2009. In his later years, the star's life and work were tainted by controversy with accusations of child molesting. But Bobby, who used to speak on the phone with the star every week, stood by him through thick and thin, and still does.
There's one thing. I want everyone to know that Michael Jackson, was never a pedophile. Michael used to sleep in the same bed with me and my ex-wife. So kids who slept in the bed with Michael, right, were kids who slept in the bed with Michael, and that was it. It was never any thing that he would ever do to a kid. He was pro-kids like I am. I'd rather work with a kid now than any adult.
And these days, it's mostly kids who Bobby is coaching to become stars themselves. It was through teaching one Chinese student in Canada that he ended up moving to the other side of the world.
Beijing, Doug Louis. His parents were Cantonese. And he came to me one day, and he always called me boss. Why he called me that, I don't know. Boss, I want you to go to China with me. And I was afraid. Even at my old age, I was afraid. I said, man, are you crazy? I said, the communists, the machine guns, I don't want to live under that kind of thing, right? He said, oh, man, come on. He said, we're going to go for 2 weeks. If you don't like it after 2 weeks, come on back. After the first month that I was there, I became a workaholic. I worked 7 days a week in my studio. I had 18 children that I was teaching that didn't speak a bit of English, only Mandarin.
You taught them English?
I taught them English as well as music, yeah. And that's another thing that brought me to China, is the families. That is no more in the West, but it's that way here. I left Beijing because there were a couple of policemen who tried to get money out of me every week. Because they found out I was making a lot of money, yeah. And they can find that out very easy. Right? When they found that out, then they wanted a piece of the pie, and I wasn't ready to slice it.
That's what brought Bobby here to Hong Kong.
Everybody. Very good. Very good. You were singing too, kid, wasn't you?
I was. My name is Mark. I'm Sophia. Luke. Chloe. It's really fun. Yeah, very fun. The funniest thing he says is, kill you.
I don't allow my kids to call me Mr. I feel like if you can't be personable with the people that you're teaching or working with, then you don't need to work with them. You don't need to teach them.
Hello, my name is Ariana. I'm 6 years old. I love singing so much. I've been singing when I was 3 years old. I was singing with him since I was 5, and I love singing with him. He is very funny and he sings very well. He is a very good teacher.
I'm Freddie. I'm the pianist in my band. Our band is Nevermind. So 5 of us there. I'm the pianist and she's the lead vocal. Whenever we skip a bit or maybe we skip a part of solo, we skip a note, we just make fun of the bass or make fun of her. So to ease us down, not to make fun of us for sure, but just ease us down like this. He led us to do the music on our own way. He is a very kind and thoughtful man. Even his, we got a lot of help from him. Every time we reach out, we called him that we face some problem, or even so we can't make to some decision or what, we tell him our difficulties, and he tried to help us solve it.
After fighting racism, wars, and the recording industry, Bobby faced his biggest personal battle in his 40s when he was diagnosed with throat cancer.
I was supposed to only live a year, and that was in 77. What year is this?
77.
What year is this? So I'm still here. This is all my hair, mine. I don't look 80. I was taught by an old lady. I call her old because she was 101. And she told me, son, if you never want to get old, here's what you do. When you walk, walk briskly. When you walk, don't look down. She says, do everything that you did when you were younger, right? Don't change the way that you've always lived because you've gotten older. She said, remember one thing, age, your age is a number. It's the number of years that you've been here on this earth, and that's all it is. You can do everything with music. Love by music, hate by music, be happy by music, be sad with music. You can do it all. Make money with music, be poor with music. I am a human being that loves music. That's how I look at myself. I'm blessed because I can do it all. Some things maybe I could have done better, but that's not now. That was then. You can't change what has been done. And people ask me, would you change anything? No. I think that way because I think that's the way God planned it, or else I wouldn't have done it that way in the first place. I think it's just being able to look another person in the face and say, I did the best that I could.
That's all for this edition of Inside Story. If you have any comments or suggestions, email us at insidestory@atv.com.hk. We'd like to hear from you. I'm Yondan Latu. Thanks for watching.